The Chargers have options at 5th overall. Now that the scouting combine has ended, we have a lot of rumors and news going around about what teams want to do in the draft and in free agency. So let's go over every single rumor and report that came out about the Chargers from the scouting combine. And I'm going to try and figure out which one of these are the real reports and then which one of these are the fake ones that's just trying to trick everyone, because as you know, this is lying season. Also, I am giving away a PS5 at the end of the month. All you have to do is just click on the sign up link in the description, create an Underdog account, and enter my promo code McLane, MACLANE. You're gonna get up to $100 matched on your deposit, but all that you have to deposit is $10 with my code, and you will be entered into the giveaway. That's not a rumor, that is a report. I am giving away a PS5 Spider-Man 2 edition, sources say, and also sources say that Brock Bowers and the Chargers had a meeting at the combine.
Oh yeah, I met with the Chargers the other night, and yeah, I mean, me and Coach Harbaugh were talking a little bit about when we played them in 2021 and when he was recruiting me and stuff. So it was cool to see him again and get to talk to him.
Now, Brock Bowers has been linked to the Chargers really like ever since the draft process even began. So it's no secret that the Chargers are interested enough to have a meeting with him at the combine. But Jim Harbaugh has been connected to Brock Bowers for years now, because back when he was coming out of high school, Jim Harbaugh tried to recruit him to go to Michigan. Tight end is a huge area of need, because right now that tight end room is like totally desolate. All we really have is Donald Parham, who's not really a blocking tight end. He's just kind of this big 6'9" target that you have in the red zone. I mean, all the Chargers really did with him is just run him right up the seam and have Justin Herbert lob the ball up to him, and he's just going to reach up as high as he can to catch it so that the defensive back can't be in contention with it. That was really the only thing that Donald Parham was used for last year. And with the way that we know Greg Roman utilizes tight ends, he uses them so much in a lot of different ways, blocking and receiving. I already talked about in my videos a lot how we can expect to see a lot more two tight end formations, because Greg Roman loves putting tight ends on the field, but also because Jim Harbaugh ran the most two tight end sets in college football last year. Now, while I'm talking about Brock Bowers, you are probably thinking one of two things. Either Brock Bowers should be the pick at 5th overall because he is an all-time talent and the greatest college football tight end in history. He is a game changer, and it's a position of need, and he fits our scheme perfectly. Or you're thinking, nope, the value of tight end is not there when you are picking top 5, and he cannot block to save his life. Just look at him next to Gronk. Look at this picture, and you tell me that he is a tight end, because this dude, he's going to be a bust. He is not built for the NFL. Ever since that picture came out of him next to Rob Gronkowski, I mean, people have been disrespecting Brock Bowers' blocking ability just because he's not as big as Gronk. And I'm going to remind you guys really quick why Brock Bowers is the real deal and he can block. I mean, just look at all of these plays that I'm showing you right now. Look up here at him blocking really well. I don't know exactly what play it is, but I'm going to play a ton of them because he's had a lot of good reps as a blocker. Just because he doesn't have the size doesn't mean he doesn't have the effort. And also, he has the production as a blocker too, because PFF ranked him as one of only 14 tight ends since 2014 with a 75 plus PFF run blocking and pass blocking grade. That means within the past decade, he is one of only 14 tight ends that is that good of a blocker. So you are combining a generational receiving tight end with a top 14 blocking tight end within the past 10 years. That is what Brock Bowers is. The only real knock on Brock Bowers is the positional spending argument. Should you pick a tight end in the top 5? Because then you have a tight end that's going to get top 12 tight end in the NFL money as soon as he enters the league. If you pick a wide receiver, he's making 31st wide receiver in the NFL money. If you take an offensive lineman like tackle, he's making 34th in the NFL. And so if you look at it from a roster management standpoint, it's a tough argument to make. But the easy fix to that is you trade down and select Brock Bowers, because picking him at 11 would bump him all the way down to 22nd highest paid tight end in the NFL as soon as he is drafted. The talent is there, obviously, and the fit is freaking perfect, bro. But it all depends on how the team values those other positions in the grand scheme of how they want to build out this roster. Now, the next big name here is Malik Nabers. Everyone is talking about how he is the next great wide receiver. And in my video yesterday, there were quite a few people that said they would even take him over Marvin Harrison Jr. There were also a ton of people saying, do not draft a wide receiver under any circumstance in the first round. Listen, I understand both arguments there, but the rumor from the combine is that the Chargers want Malik Nabers. Now, he's even saying in the tweet, take that for what it's worth. So that's why I don't know how much stock we can really put into this one. But wait a minute. Because 2 years ago, he said that the Chargers could take offensive line during the combine when everyone was mocking Trent McDuffie or Jordan Davis, or even a wide receiver like Chris Olave I was seeing was getting mocked to them back at this, same time during the draft process. Nobody had Zion Johnson on their radar, and that's who they ended up picking, which falls in line with what he tweeted at the time. So he does have a history of being accurate from what he has heard at the combine. But again, this doesn't confirm anything, so don't freak out because Joe Hortiz wrote on a note card, Malik Nabers no matter what, and then he's going to pull it out on draft night. We obviously know the emphasis on the run game, so why would they take Malik Nabers 5th overall, a wide receiver for the second year in a row, right? Well, Daniel Popper of The Athletic said, Greg Roman will lean into his greatest organizational asset, Justin Herbert's right arm. So things are starting to add up a little bit here for the Malik Nabers hype train, but it gets even hotter because there is another report, this time from Cam Marino, who said he expects the Chargers to draft Malik Nabers and the Cardinals will either draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or trade down, which we talked about yesterday. But then just a few days later, after the combine ended, he updated his top 5 from what he heard at the combine. And so he had the Cardinals trading down with Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the Chargers at 5th overall. So wide receiver in the first round is starting to heat up late in the draft cycle here. And if the Cardinals trade down, then the Chargers could have their pick of Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Nabers for Justin Herbert. And to everyone who's getting ready to comment, O-line over wide receiver in the first round, I hear you, man, but I just want to remind you that the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell very recently. And so either way, you're not really going to lose. Both of those teams would take the same guy again. This is just a win-win situation for the Chargers. A win-win-win if they trade down. You either are going to have a generational wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Nabers, or you're going to take your O-lineman at 5 in Joe Alt. I think it is a long shot, though, that Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, and so does Albert Breer, who said just this morning that he thinks that the Cardinals will have trade talks but will ultimately end up taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I did not realize the disrespect that people have on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game, but I'm just going to chalk it up to prospect fatigue because in my video yesterday, a lot of people were not giving him the respect that he absolutely deserves. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be the best wide receiver in the NFL at some point in his career. I'm calling it now. This dude was the best in college football. With all of these prospects coming out, that dude was the best during the season for the past 2 years. And obviously, it doesn't have to come down to either Joe Alt or a wide receiver because the Chargers could still trade down. We know that Joe Hortiz loves them draft picks, bro, but if the Cardinals trade down, then that option probably is not going to be there, and it's going to force them to pick at 5. So there really is no losing here for the Chargers because the only way I see it playing out is either Marvin Harrison Jr. / Malik Nabers at 5, which either way I think you're getting an absolute stud wide receiver for the next freaking decade. Joe Alt, a stud right tackle for a decade. Maybe even moving to left tackle. I don't know what happens to Rashawn Slater down the line. What if he doesn't get extended? I don't know. I think he absolutely will. But either way, Joe Alt, a stud tackle for a decade. Or you trade down and pick either the best cornerback available, Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, wide receiver, offensive line, or you take Brock Bowers, depending on how far you go down and who is available. I don't think there's a way for the Chargers to mess this up, man. And whether this report of wide receiver in the first round is true or not, I'm on board with whoever they pick, because if Jim Harbaugh says he is the guy, he is the guy. Don't forget to enter the PS5 giveaway. And also, if you want to hear more about the Marvin Harrison Jr. and Cardinals trade talks, you can click this video right here.